It's time for the Northwoods Cooking Show. Starring Uncle Roy and Miss Callie, the troublemaking dog.
Okay, now we're going to be making our dessert, which is going to be a black forest cake. How German and chocolatey is that? Yummy. So of course we're going to have the dry ingredients separate from the white. And in a separate bowl then for our dry ingredients, we're going to be needing 2 cups. Ooh, Callie, this is good. She took off running again. I don't have the machine on, Callie. This is the cake, not the bread. I just don't like that sound. And 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda. And 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. And again, too, I've said this before, if you don't bake that much, your soda and your baking powder may be a little inactive at the top. So you want to take and stir it up so you can get some of the more active ingredients from the bottom. I don't have that problem because I do a lot of baking, but it does help out a lot. And a 3/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. Oh, there goes the bread. That's okay, and then 2 cups of sugar. I didn't see that underneath. Oh, Callie, I took off. She didn't take off then, she'd take off now if that does beat. She just don't like that noise. And there's the 2 cups of sugar. Now I always take a wire whisk to do my mixing of my dry ingredients. That always helps out a lot. And it gets the dry ingredients mixed up so much finer and nicer when you use the wire whisk. It really incorporates them together a lot. It makes it really nice. So you don't have big clumps of soda or chocolate in one spot or another. This will make it all even. It blends everything together really nice. Plus the hardness of the wire is going to break up any lumps that you might have in there of flour or sugar or soda or anything like that, so that it's all fine and mixes well together when you add your liquids. Okay, we'll just set this aside here. And then in the mixer now for my wet ingredients, I'm going to be needing a 1/2 cup of shortening. Now I'm going to be using the Crisco flavored shortening. Or the Crisco flavor, the butter flavored Crisco. Because that's going to give me a nice buttery flavor to my cake, rather than just a greasy tasting like just plain vegetable shortening. It does add a really nice flavor to your baking when you use the butter flavored Crisco. So mix this up, break it up. And to this we're going to be adding 3 eggs. Ooh. Let those incorporate a little bit better. And a tablespoon of vanilla. And because it's a special occasion, I'm using my pure vanilla, the expensive stuff. This is the stuff I don't buy for myself. This is the stuff that I got off a gift card that I got for Christmas. $20 a bottle. Oh, I would not pay that much for vanilla. $5 a bottle is expensive enough for pure vanilla. $20? Oh my Lord. But this is that bourbon vanilla. Madagascar bourbon. Ooh, expensive stuff. Williams Sonoma, very expensive. I think Kitchen Window might have it too. And then we need 1 cup of milk. And I turn that speed down because you don't want it splashing up all over the place. And then I'm going to scrape the bowl with the excess butter. And then I'm going to mix in about 1/3 of the dry ingredients. Because I want that to cling to that butter. To kind of separate the milk and butter. So I want to put this on low just to incorporate that milk mixture and butter in with the dry ingredients. And then we can put in the rest of the flour mixture. And then I'll use my wooden spoon and mix this up by hand. Because like I said before in my baking, in most of your recipes, if you use the mixer after you add your flour ingredients, it activates the gluten and then you get a drier, harder cake. So this way, it's not going to get as hard or as rubbery. And you got control over the mixture. And we just want to mix this up until it's all well moistened. Because you don't want to over mix. Just make sure all those dry ingredients are well blended. Get on the bottom. Because with this mixer, it doesn't always get the bottom, so the spoon is even nicer. To making sure that you get the bottom. And when they're all mixed up, that's it. You can stop. Because you don't want to over mix. Ooh, Callie Ellies. Chocolate-acadies, Callie's. She's coming up. She heard that beat. Then we're going to pour this into our prepared pans. I always like this Baker's Joy because it gets the flour and oil shortening all mixed together. And be careful when you spray so you don't get it all over your cupboards. That's always a mess. I always like to aim it towards the sink. And then we'll just divide this batter in half and pour half in each pan. And then smooth it out. Get that all evenly spread. Because we're going to cut these layers in half horizontally, so we're going to end up with 4 layers. So you want to try and get this as evenly as possible, the same amount. You know, of course you're never going to, but I mean, that's just the objective here, is to try and get it as even as possible. This is going to make it easier to fashion the cake together if everything's all the same size. And if it's not, don't cry, it ain't going to hurt you. It'll just be a learning experience. Oh, is that ever chocolatey? Oh. Remember, I'm diabetic, I can't be eating that. Making samples. Just samples. Just samples. Okay, now this goes into a 350-degree oven. Tap it down. That gets out any air bubbles and it makes it even then too. This goes into a 350-degree oven for about 25 to 30 minutes. or until a toothpick inserted in the center comes out clean. Then we're going to take the cakes and we'll put those on a cooling rack and let those cool for 10 minutes before we invert them. We need to let them set before you turn them over, otherwise they break apart. After 10 minutes, you can invert them and let them cool completely on your cake rack. And then we can, when they cool completely, then we'll get back to the cake and we'll cut it and start to assemble it. And now we're going to take and construct our Black Forest cake. So first we need to have 3 cups of whipping cream, the liquid. And this goes right into a bowl and we're going to whip this up. Now you just want to whip it until it's frothy, and then we're going to add 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar. So as soon as this gets frothy, we'll take and add the powdered sugar. Now be careful that you don't overbeat it, because then you're going to get butter. This is the real whipping cream. So we'll be right back when it's all frothy. So now we need 1/4 cup of powdered sugar, plus 2 tablespoons, which actually is 1/8 of a cup. So it's 1/4 cup plus 1/8 cup. Samples. Oh, she's looking. Oh. And I have these cooling on the rack. And now we got to cut these in half horizontally. And the first layer goes down. Oh, look at her. Here's me cutting. Everything I have on the cutting board has to be right there. Oh, oh. Samples. That's what you're looking for, aren't you? Oh, yeah, you know something's going on. And what we do is we put on about 1 cup of whipping cream. And we spread this all over the first layer. And then we're going to top it off with some cherry pie filling. We don't need a lot. About 3/4 of a cup. And just spread that all over the top of that first layer. Go up to the edges. And we put on the second layer. Oh, she's just waiting for the cones. And then repeat. And we don't have to worry about it going over the edges at all. That's going to get smoothed out around the edges anyway. Another 3/4 cup on top of that. Now if you want to, you could add a little kirsch, which is a little cherry brandy, to the cherry filling. Mix that together and then spread that over. And that'll give it a nice flavor. And then we just repeat this with the other layer. Oh, she's looking for crumbs. Look at her. Getting the cake crumbs. So that's the 3 layers with the cherry filling in between on top of the whipped cream. Now we take the 4th layer and we put this into our food processor. Because this we're going to take and grind up so we can get cake crumbs. And now we'll take these cake crumbs and these are going to be patted all the way around the outside of the cake. Oh, look at all these crumbs, Callie, Alex. Oh, crumbs. You want to be careful. Try not to get on top. If you do, it's no biggie, because we're going to take and put the rest of the pie filling on top. And then I'll continue around until we get the whole outside covered with the cake crumbs. And you will have leftovers too. Then I just take some more of the crumbs and I put them on top here so we can cover the whole thing. And it's okay if you don't get the edges, because now I'll take the rest of the whipping cream that's in the container, add about a 1/4 cup of butter, and like about another 2 cups, about 1.5 cups of powdered sugar until you get a thick frosting. And then I'm just putting it in a piping bag with a star-shaped tip on it. And we're just going to go around and squeeze stars all the way around the border. And then we just pipe all the way around the edge like that. And then you just take the last of your pie filling. And we just put this right in the center. And then we just spread this around the whole entire top. And that's our Black Forest cake. Oh, Callie, don't that look good? Oh boy, Callie, that dessert was a chore to make, wasn't it? Oh, looks pretty good though, don't it? Can't wait for the crumbs. Wait for our samples. Now we're going to be making the German dinner part, and this is going to be German sausages with cabbage. And so what we're going to do first is, in a large pan, we're going to take and brown off our bratwurst. Now we take and brown off our sausages. And these here are our bratwurst that we're going to be browning off. And it's going to take about 5 to 8 minutes to get them thoroughly browned. And then when they're done, then we'll go on to another step in adding more ingredients. Then we take out the sausages and let those settle for a while we take and brown off, saute our onions. This is about a cup of onion that you want to take and saute. I think I'll put a little bit of butter in there to give it some oil. And these are coming along just nice, getting soft and tender, getting a little brown. Nice and golden, this is how we want them. And now to this mixture, we're going to be adding 2.5 cups of water, along with a 1/4 cup of brown sugar and a 1/4 cup of vinegar. And this we're going to let come to a boil. And while we're waiting for that, then we take and we mix up a 1/2 cup of water with a tablespoon of cornstarch. And we just wait for this mixture to come back to a boil. This is the onion with a 1/4 cup of vinegar and a 1/4 cup of brown sugar and 2.5 cups of water. Now this is back to a boil, and we'll pour in our mixture. Just make sure you stir that up a little bit. And pour that in. And then stir this all around together. Keep stirring this until it thickens up. And when it comes back to a boil, then we can turn this off and it's done. And then we can put our sausages back inside. Now your sausages can sit in here for as long as you want. The longer you let these marinate, the better tasting the sausages are going to be. So we can just lay these in here. And just let them sit and marinate for as long as you want. And these will be our German sausage, and then we'll be making the cabbage. Okay, now for the cabbage part. For this, we need 1 inch of hot water. And we're going to bring this to a boil. And in the water, we need a teaspoon of salt. Now see, the sausages are still simmering, they're slowly boiling away. So the longer they sit, the better they're going to taste. That's 1 teaspoon of salt into 1 inch of water. Bring that to a boil. Now as we're waiting for that, we're going to cut our red cabbage. So you want to cut off the end and remove those outer leaves. Then we just cut this in half. And then we take out the core, which is a triangular piece. Just want to cut that triangle part right out. Cut that part out because it's if you eat it with it, it's a little bitter. So you don't want to taste that bitterness in your cabbage. And we just toss those. And then we're going to cut these into 8s. So each half will cut into quarters. Now to the boiling water, we had the teaspoon of salt. We're also going to need a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, and a 1/4 cup of vinegar. And being that it's the German dish, I'm going to use the cider vinegars to give it more flavor. And that'll give it a nice little kick. And we just cover and bring this to a boil, and then we'll add our cabbage to that. Okay, now the cabbage is coming to a boil. We got 1/2 cup of cold water, and we're going to add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Mix this up, and this is going to go into our cabbage. Oh, Callie, it's getting hot in here. Oh, my wooden spoon. And to that, we're going to turn this down to a simmer. And to that now, we need a dash of black pepper. And a dash of caraway seed. So about an eighth teaspoon of pepper and an 1/8 teaspoon of caraway seed. And then we just mix this mixture up and put on the cover. Make sure it's on a simmer. That one's on a simmer, they're all simmering. And we'll let that simmer for 20 minutes and then we're done. And in the back here, I'm boiling up some potatoes so we can have mashed potatoes. Because we got all these extra gravies, we might as well put them to good use. And now this is the finish of our meal. Here we have the wonderful pumpernickel bread with the beer inside. Oh, does that ever taste good? And we got our bratwurst sausages, along with the red cabbage, and we made some mashed potatoes, and we put all this extra onion gravy on there. It's really, really good. And our black forest cake with the cherry filling on the inside and cherry filling on top. Quite wunderbar, isn't it, Miss Callie's? Oh yeah! Happy Octoberfest! Well, we hope you enjoyed our Octoberfest. This is our question and answer period, so if you have questions for Callie or I on cooking, canning, baking, gardening, please feel free to write us at the Northwoods Cooking Show at yahoo.com. Let's see who wrote us this week, Callie. Come here.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog.
Oh, come here. Oh, so pretty, Zia! Let's put. Dear Uncle Roy and Miss Callie, what kind of oil do I use for making French fries? Signed, Sarah of Ann Arbor, Michigan. Oh, Ann Arbor. Oh, hello, Ann Arbor. Let's see, oil. You can use just about any kind you want to, technically, but the best kind that I find for deep frying is pure vegetable oil. Now you can use corn oil or peanut oil if you want to. Peanut oil is really good for deep frying because it has less cholesterol in it too. You can't use olive oil because that'll give you a bad aftertaste. Coconut oil is good, but that's very expensive. There are different types of oils out there. I would just go with a pure vegetable oil. I always use like Crisco or Super Value or name brands or even store brands. Just the store brands ones are even cheaper. But go with a pure vegetable oil. That's your best bet. It doesn't give an aftertaste to you, and it's less calories than some of the other oils. I hope that answers your question, Sarah. And from Miss Callie and I, Treat, come here, Callie, come here, treat, Callie, come here, say goodbye, get over here, come here, Callie, come here, what is her problem today? Sit pretty and say goodbye to everybody. Oh, so from Callie and I, we want to say healthy eating, be safe, and spread the sunshine. Bye-bye.